Rolling. Hello, movie patient, and welcome to a mini session of film therapy. I am Brianne, also known as Miss Movies, also known as your film therapist. And today on this mini session, I have Greg Miller.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
How are
Thanks
you,
for
Miss
coming
Movies?
on.
Oh my God, thanks for having me.
I am very excited that you're on the show, and I know that many people are very excited that you're on the show as well.
Good.
I want people to know who you are, just in case they don't.
Oh,
So you tell them.
I'm Greg Miller. I'm a dork on the internet. I do a lot of stuff. I talk about chicken wings, and I have a cute wiener dog.
Excellent. You kind of have a business.
Yeah, I kind of run I'm part of this Kind of Funny thing, kindoffunny.com. We do a bunch of podcasts and YouTube videos and goofy stuff like that. You've been on it.
I've been there. I've
Yep.
been in your studio. It's very exciting. It's an
Yes,
exciting
yes.
place. Lots of new things are happening right now. You also have a Twitch channel where you
Mhm,
make a show every single day, which is now the Kind of Funny morning show.
Yep.
All those.
Yeah, we just changed everything. Yesterday was second anniversary and did a whole bunch of crazy crap.
I love it. Well, I'm glad that you're here. This is how the show works.
Okay.
Normally, I ask patients 3 questions about film, but because this is a mini session, we're just going to focus on one of those questions.
Got it.
And you're going to give us a story a little bit, and
Okay.
that's how that works. And
Got it.
I started this show because I do suffer from depression, and I find that movies help me cope with depression.
Mhm.
So I do want to let people out there know that if you're experiencing an emergency right now, please call your doctor, call your friends, go to the hospital, call 911, whatever you need to
100%.
do to get help. So let's get into our question for today. Our question is, what is a film or a scene from a film that triggers a memory for you? Perhaps it's painful or maybe it's sad.
Man, 2 jump to mind. The first was the first movie I ever cried at, and it was Harry and the Hendersons. And I was a little Greggy. I was sitting in front of the TV. Mom and Dad were watching it with me, and it was a fun movie. Everybody's having great. John Lithgow, it's awesome. Yeah, it's a good relationship. He goes from not liking Harry to loving Harry. Great. But it's when the Sasquatch hunter is coming after them, and he drive to the woods, and he's trying to get Harry to go into the woods, and Harry won't go, so he slaps him in the face and tells him he doesn't love him, and he hit him. Is like, I don't love you, go away, or whatever. And like I sat there for a moment, and then just went, and like lost it, and was screaming and crying. My parents said like pause the movie and like, what's wrong? And I'm like, he doesn't love Harry, and I don't understand what's going on. And they were like, no, it's like it's just the thing. He's trying to save him. He still loves Harry. And then we finished the movie, and everybody learns to love Harry. But then it's still super sad because they send him back in the woods anyway. But then it turns out there's a bunch of other Sasquatches there. So it all works out in the end, I guess. But I wanted to see him continue to live with the Hendersons, which I did get, of course, on the TV series Harry and the Hendersons, featuring the congressman from X-Men.
Oh man, I can't even think of who the congressman from X-Men is now.
The dude, you remember in the beginning, he turns to water, like he's anti-mute, he's against these muties or whatever, then he ends up turning to water when Magneto gives him all this stuff.
Nice. I don't even remember. I'm like, I can't think of that actor's name.
Maybe I don't know his name. Okay. That was when I was watching X-Men. I was like, hey, the dude from the knockoff Harry and the Hendersons TV show, he did pretty all right for himself. He ended up in this movie, so I can't complain.
How long? Okay, so you were how old? 8?
I don't know. Let's check. I'm at the computer. I don't remember when Harry and the Hendersons came out.
Because I can see being a kid and not understanding that sometimes we say things that we don't actually mean on screen, and so you take it very literally, and then you can't.
Harry and the Hendersons came out in 1987, so I would have been 4 years old upon release, which means it got to VHS, so probably like 5 and a half. I probably watched it on TV, and there was no way to process it, right? It was just whatever happens on screen is what's happening in real life, and like, how could he treat somebody he loves like this?
At 4 years old, that could technically be like the first time you ever cried at a movie, actually.
Oh, 100%. No, it totally was. I don't, there's no other recollection. For a while, it was super easy to keep track of things I cried at. Because there was Harry and the Hendersons, and then I remember there was Extreme Ghostbusters. Now, granted, I was in high school at Extreme Ghostbusters. I shouldn't have cried, but this is how good the writing for Extreme Ghostbusters was. Because Eduardo and Slimer went into the containment unit, and of course, Slimer didn't need a breathing take, but Eduardo did. And then I think it was Sam Hain, the pumpkin guy, possesses Slimer, who turns on Eduardo, who bites into the oxygen tank and kills Eduardo in the and then they come out and he's dead, and Slimer bursts into tears, and I started crying too because it was a really sad moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
In high school.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't have many dates in high school.
Well, you know. Neither did I.
Yeah, well, I went home and I watched Extreme Ghostbusters Friday nights. It was great. And then they crossed over with the real Ghostbusters. Extreme Ghostbusters, incredibly underrated cartoon. Incredibly underrated. Underrated Game Boy Advance game as well.
Now you said there was a second film that could work for this as well. Did you
Sure,
wanna-
like in terms of like emotional like resonance and things I remember, it's Ghostbusters 2. Because I was a huge Ghostbusters fan, as you may have picked up on by the crying of the Ghostbusters cartoon in high school. But when Ghostbusters originally came around, I remember my parents keeping me awake to watch it on HBO. And so, Ghostbusters comes out in 84. I was born in 83. So this must have been, again, 85, 86 or whatever, that it was on HBO cable, and they were keeping me awake to watch it. And then I fell in love with it because they knew I'd like it. And sure enough, I really liked it. And when Ghostbusters 2 comes around in 89, of course, we went and saw it opening day, me and my mom or whatever. And I remember it was one of those moments where I knew my mom was getting a lot out of it, seeing how happy I was about it. And so I was trying to downplay how happy I was. And so when we sat down in the theater in 89 and it went dark, and then it comes up and it's Dana and the baby carriage runs off, and all the slime starts happening. When the music starts building, I remember my mom stopping to not watching the screen anymore, but watching me. And I knew out of the corner of my eye she was, and I'm like, don't smile, like don't give her anything. Act like you're an adult and you can take this. But as soon as the music starts building and then the logo came up, I just couldn't stop grinning. Like it was like one of those things like there's those moments in life where you're smiling like an idiot, and it was one of those where it just plastered on my face and I couldn't stop.
Aw, I like
And so that's like a sweet, sweet memory. Yeah, I was like going to movies with my mom and trying to act like a man or whatever the hell I was doing. I don't know. Not just trying to give my mom not the satisfaction that she knew me so well when clearly she did.
My kids have not seen Ghostbusters, and I'm trying to figure out
This interview is over.
when a good time to show them Ghostbusters is, because they have a lot of stuff. They know what Ghostbusters is,
Yeah.
but they haven't seen it. They play,
How old are your kids?
They're 4 and 6.
Okay.
And they play the song, the Ghostbusters song, all
Yeah.
the time. When their grandmother came to grandparents' day at school, each kid had to write something, and my daughter wrote, "I love my grandma because she plays the Ghostbusters song for me." So I thought that was kind of hilarious.
They're the perfect age, because that was the thing, is like Ghostbusters, you don't get like it's an adult comedy, the first one, right? Like there's
Right.
Mr. Stay Puft, we got him all wrong. He's a sailor. He's in New York. We get him laid. We won't have a problem. Kids don't understand that, obviously. They just understand that they're these cool people running around with cool proton packs, busting ghosts. And it was one of those stupid things of, I was never afraid of ghosts after that movie. I was not afraid of no ghosts, I said. Just the fact of I knew there was a way to beat these things. You know what I mean? So it was that it took away, I think, a lot of the fear of nighttime and stuff when you were. I remember I had a real Ghostbusters little poster that came in with the figures that said, this room's protected by the real Ghostbusters forever. And that was a thing I legitimately was like, oh yeah, it is. I'll be fine.
Yeah. You're gonna be good.
Yeah.
Everything's great.
Exactly. They're on top of it.
Well, thank you so much for being on this mini session, Greg.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Where can the other patients that are in the waiting room /chat find you?
They can come over to kindafunny.com. They can see all the podcasts and YouTube videos and stuff there.
Excellent. Very
Great.
good. And
Thank you so
on
much.
Twitter.
Oh, Twitter, Game Over Greggy, sure. There's a million ways to find us. The .com.
All right, great. All in one section
Right.
there, kindafunny.com. Thank you so much. And
No,
you can
thank you.
find me at Miss Movies on Twitter. That's where I live. So I'm there. Tweet at me, say hey. And that's all. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.